Hi, this is Betty Banjack, and this is my special guest, Martha Wright. And Martha is a teacher at the special ed department here in the Norristown school system, right?
Yes, I am.
I got that all in one phrase. And Martha's going to make for us today a very special sweet potato pie.
Pie, right.
And she already jumped ahead and started on us.
Not really. I just really put the sweet potatoes in.
I don't know if you can catch this or not on the camera.
I just put the sweet potatoes and the butter in.
Okay.
But I haven't really started.
Here it is. See? Whoops. We're playing food tag like they do on the phone with thing. But so why don't you get started, and then we'll just talk a little bit and you tell me a little bit about your family and what you do at work. Whoa, maybe we can't talk so well.
Okay.
I'll talk louder.
Well,
I hope that's okay, guys. Can you hear me?
Well,
yeah. Talk loud.
The first thing you have to do is blend the sweet potatoes with the melted butter. And once
softened or melted?
Well, actually, you can do it either way. If you melt the butter and the sweet potatoes are warm right off the pot, then you don't have to, if it's just softened, then you don't have to melt it. Or you can take the butter and put it in the microwave and melt it, which would have been better today, I guess.
Everyone knows how limited we are here in our kitchen at the high school studio. So she brought everything in.
I brought it in, but I didn't know that I was going to need to. My sweet potatoes had been sitting out in the car, so I probably should have melted the butter instead of the sweet potatoes.
It'll take a little
but that's okay. It will melt definitely when you put it in the oven.
Martha's a little apprehensive about appearing on television.
Yeah, I am, because actually cooking is therapeutic for me, but not with
the lights and the cameras.
Yeah, it's not like that.
By the time you're done, you're going to want to do next week's show.
Oh,
you want my job. Oh, I had to watch it.
No. I think I really have fallen in love with mine until I retire.
Oh, okay.
I think that'll be fine. So,
how many children do you have?
I have 2 children. I have a son who's 6'7". His name is Lee. And I have a daughter who's Yvette Holmes Cannon, and she's like 5. My kids are very tall, 5'10" and a half. And my daughter-in-law teaches English here, Miss Walker Holmes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At the high school?
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe she'll watch the show and.
Yeah, and then I have a son-in-law named John. Yeah. So, and then 4 grandsons.
4 grandsons.
Yeah.
Well, from both children or one?
Each one of my children have given me 2 grandsons.
Wow.
My son has 2 boys, Desmond and Lee, and my daughter has John and Jahan.
Are they in competition?
Well, John and Jahan, my daughter lives in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. So, and then Lee and Des are here in Norristown. So what happens is they're always excited to see each other. So there's not very little competition. Okay. They just have a good time when they get together.
What are you going to put in next?
Next, I'm putting in sugar.
That much? Huh?
And what happens is that you put in 2/3 cups to each potato. It's easier than to put in the 2 cups. You tell people that. And actually what you have to do is taste it as you go along, because sometimes sweet potatoes are not, well, these are yams. And sometimes yams are not that sweet. Mm-hmm. So when they're not that sweet, you have to add more sugar.
Here, I have this. This is a yam I brought, and this is a sweet potato, and we can see the difference. They're a little different. The sweet potatoes are narrower on the ends, and the yams are bigger and bulkier. I love yams in the microwave and just salt and butter.
And just to add, this yam is too small for pies. You'll see them in all sizes in the market, and what you need to do is get the biggest you can get. Maybe that can be your 3rd one, but the other 2 need to be as big as you possibly can get them.
Do you have 3 yams in this pie?
Yes, I do, and then I put a little leftover batter from the other pies.
Can you use sweet potatoes in it?
Well, I've never used them, but I'm sure you could. But if that's as big as they come, you'd have to...
They're not big. Sweet potatoes aren't
Well, that's why
big.
I think yams are better.
So you have 3 yams in here. Big ones. I know which ones you mean.
Right.
The ones I always think, I'll take the whole pot to cook one.
Right.
Yeah.
Those, like 2 of those and maybe 1 this size would be great to make 3.
Mix that in there? So?
Okay.
I'm glad we have this bowl. We had to go down to the kitchen of the school and ask them for a big bowl.
Oh, I'm glad too, because this is about the size I use at home. You had my brother on one time, didn't you?
Yeah, Ernie.
Yeah.
Oh, Ernie.
And he's a guidance counselor here.
Here at Norristown.
Right.
And he's a real corker. He thinks he's pretty important now since he's been on television.
Well, he loves to cook. And his wife doesn't mind it a bit.
I wouldn't either. I think that's a good deal. I can't get him on again for some. Well, he's busy, and I try to get him on, but maybe in the future I'll get him on again.
Oh, just tell him how much you love his cooking, and he'll do it.
Now, what are we putting in?
What I have here is I have baking powder, 1 teaspoon.
You got a teaspoon? Did we give you a teaspoon?
Yeah, I measured it at home.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I have 3 tablespoons of flour, and I have nutmeg in here. It's like 2.
Starting to smell good already. And
yeah.
So what are you doing here now?
Well, I want to tell you something about blending. My mother would say to blend them all one at a time. I throw it all in to get it over with. And that's the neat thing about baking sweet potato pies. You can do them the way my mother does it, or you can do it my way, and you still get a good pie.
I know your mother.
Do you know Edith? Yeah, that's my mother.
Yeah, she lovely lady, absolutely lovely.
She's a great cook.
I went to a luncheon with her one time at Gladys Lee's. This is Gladys's sister. Gladys is the secretary in the communications department here.
Yeah, so we're all over the
We have lots of things. We have, Brother Ernie and Martha and Gladys and a whole bunch of other people, I think, related in this field. So okay, you just put everything in and blend.
Right, I do. I put it all in because I like to. Cooking is therapeutic for me, but I like to get it all over with.
But this is your mother's recipe, right?
Well, I got it from my mother. I never asked her if it was hers from the beginning or did she get it from somebody else. But one thing I'll say about my mother, she doesn't mind sharing recipes. A lot of people won't give you their recipes, but I've never heard my mother say, don't give my recipes out. So if somebody asks me for a sweet potato recipe, I give it to them. Now I'm going to add 8 eggs.
8 eggs?
Yeah.
You want to break them into a...
Oops! I'm going to add 8 eggs, not 8 eggshells. Believe me.
Here, I have a...
You have a...
Why don't you put the eggshells in here?
Okay. Here we go.
1. 2.
Believe it or not, that
batter's stiff. Look, the hand mixer's standing up in it.
Yeah, that's because the potatoes got so cold in my car. It really should be almost like water.
Well, we zapped them in the microwave, but maybe we didn't do it long enough.
No,
and it's
probably
not the
wasn't.
same. It's not the same.
Once again, as I said, 1 egg at a time. My mother would have.
Oh, and then beat it and beat it. Oh, yeah.
That's the way she does it. I never do it that way. And
so
now she knows. If she sees this tape, she now knows I'm not following her recipe.
I was going to say, I understand she watches this program.
Does she? Oh, gosh. Mom, I'm sorry.
This is how Martha does it.
You gave me the recipe, and you told me what to do, but then I did some shortcuts.
She used to be a neighbor of mine when I used to live in Maine and Cherry, but I don't live there any longer. So.
Oh, did you know the McKays? Ed McKay and Elaine McKay?
I knew of them, but I didn't.
I just saw in the paper where he passed.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and he was 50-something. I smell this mixer. What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Well, it's not a high-power sifter. It's a hand one.
Oh, okay.
It's mixing.
Yeah, it's mixing. Now, shall we tell them that what I forgot? Because that's the last thing that goes in here.
Oh.
Okay.
She forgot to bring the milk. Is that canned milk?
Yes, it's 1 can. One
little one or the big one?
Just 1 can of
evaporated
milk. No, not a little.
This size?
Yes.
This size?
Yes.
They don't know what I've been doing on the camera with my hand. The small can of evaporated milk. Not that...
a regular size can of...
A regular size.
Right, because a small one would be half that. And you want 1 regular size.
And not the condensed kind that's real thick, that makes candy and...
Right.
You want the evaporated?
Just the evaporated. Don't get low fat and fat-free or anything like that because it takes away from the
this has calories in it?
It is so rich. With a pound of butter, 8 eggs, you have 2 cups of sugar, and you have flour. It's rich. This is a rich pie. And 3 large yams.
Well, it makes
It will
Great
yield.
pie.
This will yield you 3 to 4 pies. It depends on how large your sweet potatoes are.
This is a gorgeous color. I always thought for some reason, I made them over the years,
Well,
but I always thought they were darker in color.
Well, then when after you cook it, after you put your batter together, and Betty just told you I forgot my milk, but I also forgot my pie shells. So after you put them in the pie shells, then what you do is you sprinkle the top of it with some cinnamon and sugar and bake it. But this is what it will yield.
You you always make the 3. Do you make more?
It will yield.
Why don't you put it down here?
Okay.
And they'll try to pick it up on the camera.
Okay.
It's gorgeous. Now, to make it even less calories, do you put whipped cream on it or anything? Ice cream or?
I just eat a sweet potato pie the way you eat sweet potato pies. I'll tell you a secret. My blender. This must not be the week for me because my blender broke on me when I was making this. So
this isn't a high-power mixer.
I hand blend that. I dropped my blender on the floor and it broke.
You can do this with a blender or a food processor, I guess?
I never did that. I'll tell you, I think to taste some of the sweet potatoes in it is the best way. But then you cook the first 15 minutes on 400. It cooks for an hour, and the other 45 will go for 350.
An hour and 3/4?
No.
Oh.
15 minutes.
Oh,
the first 15.
Okay.
And then the next 45 minutes goes to 350.
Because I say an hour and 3/4 is a long time.
No, it's just 1 hour total baking time, and that's what you do. And then this is your sweet. One good thing about it is when you're finished, you get more than 1 pie. You don't get just a pie. You get 3 to 4 sweet potato pies.
Now, if we make it the Martha method, the Martha Wright method, not to be confused with Martha anybody else.
Right.
Still, you do it all in one time, all in one shot. You mix it all together.
And see, and you're finished now.
If you do it with the Mrs. Edith Hadrick method,
oh, it takes longer.
It takes longer, but
right.
maybe that's she
and
likes.
Probably a better pie because my mother's the expert at this. I'm just.
But I have a question. Does your mother not eat this pie?
Yeah, she eats them.
Well, I think that's a pretty good thing saying if she eats them, they must be pretty good.
Yeah,
you know?
she'll eat them. She just had dinner with us in New Jersey.
Oh.
So she
ate them.
She ate my daughters. I gave my daughter my mother's recipe, and she ate my daughters.
Well, can I ask you this? Since the world now knows your mother's recipe, and if anyone writes in, can we give them the recipe?
Oh, sure. We also forgot our vanilla.
Oh, well, mix that vanilla in.
Of course, you can have it. I wrote it down, left it over here on the corner for you.
Okay. This is great.
And we don't want to deprive anybody of a sweet potato pie.
Are you going to? Oh, thank you. Oh, we'll call it. Maybe we should call it Edith
vanilla
sweet
on there.
Potato pie.
Yeah, is a teaspoonful of vanilla on there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you got the whole recipe.
3 large sweet potatoes, 2 cups of sugar.
Yams instead
yams.
of.
Oh, I'm sorry, yams. You need the big ones. Sweet potatoes are small like this.
Right.
And
do not forget. Don't get the sweet potatoes. Get the yams.
Well, you had sweet potatoes. I'll change it to yams. Big yams. And then baking powder, nutmeg, flour, vanilla, 8 eggs, and
right. And the
pie.
baking.
Oh, there's no milk.
1 can of milk. That's because I forgot it, and I forgot to put it down there. But 1 can of milk.
I'll have
what
to
would
write
that be on the? Is that an 8 ounce?
I'll look when I go to the supermarket.
Okay.
And I'll write it down how many ounces.
Right, a regular can of evaporated milk.
Is it this size or this size?
No, it's like that.
That size. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the big. I have one of those at home.
Right.
I can check that out at home.
Right.
Now, since we don't have pie shells to bake this here, what are you going to take this home and bake it?
Yeah, I'll take the batter home and bake them.
I have a question.
Or I might put it in the freezer.
You can freeze this like this?
Yeah, I'll freeze it and then bake it another time.
Could you bake this in a casserole dish just without the crust?
Well, some people use this as a sweet potato mash or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's all of the ingredients, but something like it. I would not. I've only ever used it for a sweet potato pie.
Because we make a yam casserole, a sweet potato casserole, and it's almost all the same stuff.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, but then you have to put brown sugar and flour on the top with nuts
No,
in it? You don't do that one?
You bake
Okay.
it for 20 minutes or so, and then you throw marshmallows on it.
Oh, okay.
And then
no.
you keep it going again.
I've tasted that, but I've never made this with that. But I guess you could. That's also rich, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a rich pie. Anytime you put a pound of butter in something and 8 eggs.
Do you know Michael John? Oh. No, I don't know what I was going to say. Go ahead, go. I went blank, you know.
But this should be, and I'm sure it's because these sweet potatoes were cold, but this should be liquidy.
You liquidy?
Yeah.
Well, the milk would make it that way.
The milk would help, but then it would also help if I had melted the butter and also the sweet potatoes were hot. Then it would be liquidy, and then you would just...
This just smells wonderful. I'm just sitting here smelling. I'm known to say Michael Grant. Do you know of Michael Grant, the boxer?
No, I don't.
He makes a dynamite sweet potato casserole.
Oh, does he?
And everybody I know, I gave the recipe to because he was on one of my shows when I was filming out of Pottstown.
Okay.
And everyone claims it's now their sweet potato
Oh, okay.
casserole or yam casserole. You can make it with either one. And the eggs, it's not as much as this. There's not as much eggs, there's not as much milk.
Right.
This is really sweet. I know you're not supposed to do this because there's, and I got
now
a fork
they can
with
have
the egg,
Edith
you know,
Hendricks, recipe.
Oh. Uh-huh. Yes, yes, yes. I love sweet potatoes and I love yams and I get them all mixed up half the time.
Right.
I buy what I see and what I like. And I'm going to show you something that I want to do with, I did it with sweet potatoes.
Do you need the mixer?
No, I don't need the mixer. Because this is going to go in. What I'm doing, I have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, whatever you want to do. Sweet potatoes that I boiled and I cut into little cubes. And what we're going to do with this is make it into a yam salad.
Oh, okay. I never heard of that.
I know you asked me about this recipe, and I think, I don't know where I got it years ago, but I believe it was, it did originate in Africa, which yams did. If I'm not wrong, I'd be right in saying most people think sweet potatoes came from Africa and yams came from this country, but it's the other way around.
Oh, okay.
The yams came from Africa and sweet potato was cultivated here. Let me get, what you do is you have to separate these. I think I overcook these myself. It's hard when you're working at home and bringing everything. Yeah. Every Monday morning I get all my stuff together and I usually forget something. Let me show you this. You know these lettuce crispers? Everyone uses to dry their lettuce and all, but I use it for everything. I needed parsley. There's nothing worse than trying to dry parsley.
Oh, okay.
You know, once it's all wet and slimy and there under the thing. So I use it just to dry the parsley.
I've never seen that.
This dries lettuce, see what it does a little.
Okay.
And you better have it over a towel or a bowl because if you don't, it's all going to go down.
Fly out.
And so all I'm going to add to this is some onions. Now let me tell you, I used to put scallions in it. But there's been a scare about scallions, so I don't want to scare anybody.
Okay.
So put about how much onions you think you might like. Oh, I'll put these all in. We're going to like that. And then
I would never imagine onions mixed with yams.
wait, you're going to be so pleased. And then we have the parsley that I dried
Okay.
and brought the rest of it over. This could, it's up to you, could have green pepper in it or not. So, and I need something to toss this with. Well, first, before I toss it, I'm going to put, I'm standing on my cord again, a little salt. I love these little things. That's for the salt, and this is the pepper one. And they have to be, you have to buy the right one for the right one because if you put salt in the metal one, like this is metal, it'll eat out the mechanism. Pepper can be plastic. I like lots of pepper, you can tell that.
Yeah,
Right?
I like spicy food also.
And then I'm going to, you can do this another way. You can put everything in a shaker jar, the onions and the parsley, and I'm having trouble getting this apart. We're not doing too well today, are we?
No, God.
And then you put in about, well, let's start with about, I'm going to pour in half a cup, but I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to necessarily use it all. Next, we're going to pour in just, this is good if you like something not made with mayonnaise.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't think this would be too good with mayonnaise. And what we need to do, still getting this, and it really should, and that's really all. You can put a little lemon juice in it if you want it. And what I'm going to do, I want to taste this.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
I'm not big on onions, but I will.
Well, try, eat around. You don't have to put onions in it.
Okay.
But you know why I didn't put the scallions in it? Because of the scare that's been running around.
Yeah, it's tasty.
And if you let this incorporate itself, you let this blend.
Right, now sit over.
It's sort of, not overnight necessarily, but a couple hours in the refrigerator. I love this. I'm taking, this is going to be lunch. I have to taste it too. And it will be better if the longer it stands.
That's
So
great.
I didn't need all the oil. So let me pour it back in. And I know you have, you're teaching today, right?
Oh, yes, my class is waiting for...
They're waiting anxiously for a sample, I heard.
Yeah, they are.
How many students do you have?
In the morning, I have 8 in there now. In the afternoon, I might have a little more, maybe about 8 to 10.
Tell me something. What does special education? I mean, everyone I think has their own concept of special education. What is that?
Well, all students learn, but students learn in different ways, and so in order for our students to be successful, we have to do individual programming for them and planning for them, and especially design instruction so that they can be as successful as other students. And that's all. It's that they just learn differently than other students. They're learning, some of them are learning disabled, and if you really look at each person, everyone has a learning disability, and some geographically, if you give me directions and tell me to go from here to Pottstown any way other than the way I know, and I know there's different ways to go, I think I'm geographically impaired, so then that would be a learning disability for me. And
well, anything can be a learning disability.
Right, that's right.
If it's a block to you, it is.
Right, and for the kids, for the students here, it means that, you know, the state gives so much money, and that's why they're in a special education program, and they don't like, some of them don't like the term special education, but it's that every person learns, but they learn in a different manner.
Well, good. Listen, I'm really thrilled you were with me today. I know you were very apprehensive.
Yeah,
and I know Gladys talked you into this, or not. I don't think she even talked you into it. She sort of told you were going to do and what you were going to make. And
yeah, she asked me, and I was reluctant, but I'm glad. You're such a nice person. It was nice working with you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And we're going to still get Gladys on this show.
Yeah, you have to do that.
This happened was she didn't want to do the show. She's afraid. I don't know what she is. She just doesn't want to be on the show.
Well, she's a good cook.
I know. I have been to her place. So I guess we're going to have to wrap it up. Oh, my, I can't wait for this sampling.
Okay.
And this is Bette Banjack and Martha Wright, and
Patrick.
we'll see you real soon for Look Who's Cooking. Bye now.
Bye.
Don't go away. I have a tip I want to share with you. Today's quick tip is really easy and really cheap. You know these plastic bags we always have around the house? They come from the supermarket, they come from the drugstore, they come from everywhere. Well, what you can do with these, it's really great other than throw them away, which most of us seem to do. you can use them as kitchen gloves. Now what you would do is put your hand in there and use two. And this is really great when you're handling really messy things, like the chicken again. We're always concerned about chicken and salmonella. So what you can do, you can work pretty easy within the bag and do what you have to do. And the great part is you can clean it all up, and then you can turn the bag inside out, and you have all your messiness, and especially the chicken and all, to throw in the trash. So don't throw those bags away. They're good for a lot of things. So that's your quick tip for today. Thank you. Don't go away. I'm back. I want to tell you the quick tip for today. Today we're going to talk about kitchen scissors. Very important. Everybody needs them. Everybody should have them. But I found it is really, really best to get the type of scissor that comes apart. Like this one. I don't even know what brand this is. I'm not talking about brands. It can be anything you want it to be. But this one comes apart so you can wash it, you can clean it, you can put it in your dishwasher if you're lucky enough to have a dishwasher. And if not, you can soak it in some hot water. This is especially crucial when you're working with chicken and poultry, because, you know, down in the little screw and all that stuff, salmonella can live, and it's not really good for us. There's a lot of them out there that are plastic scissors or scissors, regular scissors that are jointed with a little rivet through it, and they're okay for cutting paper, they're okay for cutting string in the kitchen, but the type that comes apart is really the very, very best kind for your kitchen because you can clean them better. So that's my quick tip for today, and thank you.